Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Adam Gabe, and with me, as always, is my co-host Mike Lamb. Mike, how are we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Doing good.
Awesome. And how is the weather out in Utah this fine week?
Scorching hot. We're
Yeah,
hitting the triple digits and we're in a drought and it's the dog days of summer.
I hear you. Now, the flip side, here in Carolina, we're getting just nailed with rain. Rain every day. Lots of rain,
Oh,
lots of nasty, nasty stuff all over the U.S., the world. Scary stuff.
yeah,
But
yes.
the best part is today we're not going to talk about scary stuff. Oh, maybe to some. We are going to continue on a journey that you and I started last week, and it was all about how do we get more sales, right? And that was our focus. We got a 7 week focus on this area, and this is week two. In week two, this is a fun one. This is going to be how do you sell more often to your existing customers, right? Last week we kind of talked about everyone wanting to, say, I need new customers, I need new this and new that. And now we're going to actually take a little step back and reflect and say, okay, well, is it easier or harder to sell to your existing? If it's easier, can we do it more? So, without me kind of greasing those skids too much, Mike, what are your thoughts on this?
I think selling more often to our same customers is like the easiest sale we have if we
Okay.
do our original sale first. And so we work really hard to get that customer the first time. But if we can sell more to a customer that we already have, it is, I can't even put a figure on how much easier it is to sell to our existing customers than to go out and find a new customer.
So, why is that?
Because they know us, they know who we are. They've obviously bought from us before and they trust us.
No like and
Um,
trust. Huh.
yep. And,
Okay.
but that being said, is we have to do it right on the first time
Yep.
because we can lose the like and trust really quickly on the
That's right.
first sale.
That's right.
Um,
So, I
so
mean, this is where the things like the follow-up, all that comes into play on your initial sale. So basically, what you're saying is we're going to leverage that goodwill that we've got within our existing first sale client base, and we're going to try to double down because we think it's going to be an easier process. Um, So, what if you have one of those businesses that's not goods related? It's service related. And maybe you're on a schedule where you only really need that service maybe once a year. How do you go about, or what would you advise to clients that are on a services business on trying to increase the sale frequency?
yeah, so I actually coach a lot of businesses on this, and we have to find contact points that matter and maintenance
Mhm.
schedules, things like that, and time periods that we can get back in contact with them. And not only can it become a maintenance sale that we're coming in. So, for instance,
Mhm.
if I'm an HVAC guy, I'm coming in to do your biannual or annual service tune-up on your HVAC.
Mhm.
Um, but it can also become an opportunity to get referrals as well if we're doing that
Mhm.
properly. I mean, it's not selling to the same customer, but it's getting more sales from that customer. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So in
but
essence, I
that,
mean, it really doesn't have to be that same customer. It's leveraging that client, that customer, that sale as a springboard to a secondary sale, either from existing or from referral source. Yeah,
yep.
makes sense.
So yeah, and then we need to be when we're doing those type of things. If we're doing service, we can always keep our eyes out and offer little tidbits of information or identify other opportunities for sales.
Mm.
So if I'm an HVAC guy and I go in and they're having problems with, or I'm going in for a tune-up and I notice that the thermostat's not working well. Well, maybe I have an opportunity to sell them a thermostat and install it. Um, Simple things like that that we may not notice or that they may not notice. We get to identify that for them when we're going in and doing those type of services. And the same thing
Yeah.
goes for routine maintenance on cars, routine maintenance
Mhm.
on water pumps or water heaters, those type of things. If you're a plumber, going in and offering a maintenance on a water heater is a huge thing, and you can go in and you might sell a water heater, you
I
know?
can so picture you going through your existing client list and
Yeah, it's
talking
like
through all
just
the things. And I ironically, Mike, I was doing the same thing because one of the points I was going to piggyback off of is you used the magic M word for me, which was a maintenance, right? And
Mhm.
you said a maintenance sale. I use this type of question, this type of dialogue to really digest what the product lines or what the service lines are that people are actually selling. Because typically, if it's HVAC, for instance, you think that you have two really main types of sales, right? You have your initial equipment and installation sale, and then you have your maintenance and repair sale, right? Um, and that's all fantastic, great. But I like to take this opportunity to actually have myself and clients sit down and say, well, is this an opportunity that I have right now to get a new product line out, to get a new service line out, to get a new bundle line out? You said maintenance plan. That is inferring that things are happening on a regularly scheduled item. Now, as the service owner, if I can add an additional service or if I can bundle a series of services together, can I now start to sell a maintenance plan? Something that automatically locks in for a nominal increase in cost from service A to maintenance plan. But now I'm getting a reoccurring touch point, maybe one or two more interactions with that customer, with that client. But more importantly, what I've done is I've gained goodwill. I've been able to leverage the initial sale into, a ongoing contract around a maintenance plan, and that maintenance plan gives me goodwill, additional touch and access points, and the opportunity to let them know on new areas of expertise or delivery that I may be bringing to the marketplace. I think that is a huge factor that people overlook, especially in the services business. It's I do this. They have their blinders on. This is what they do. This is what they serve. This is who they serve to. These are the times of years that I do that. And you don't think about all the modifications, the slight tweaks, the deviations that you can make to that particular service because you have a particular equipment type, you have a skill volume, and you can start to leverage that in a new way, right?
Mhm.
It's a great way to get an additional sale from the existing client.
Yeah. And if we're not able to get them on a maintenance plan, we need to have them on a drip campaign that follows that maintenance schedule as well. That's one thing I see a lot that gets missed is if I'm doing a service and there's a regular maintenance that needs to happen at a season or a time of year or
Mhm.
by every 3 months, we need to have a drip campaign going out, hitting our customers that we already have, telling them, hey, it's the fall, it's the time to winterize, or it's spring time to get things ready for the summer. Whatever your product is that you're
Yeah.
selling in those service industries, you can do a drip campaign and sell more to your existing customers. And the one thing that we have to be mindful of is on the first experience. And I want to go back to that
Sure.
personally, just because I think a lot of people are meeting expectations of their customers, showing up on time, doing what
Mhm.
they say they're going to do, getting it
Mhm.
done. But we want that first experience to be a delightful experience. That's a word I use. We want them to have
Delightful.
a delightful. We want to delight our customers. So we
Mm.
need to go above and beyond and make sure that first experience is so good that we stand out in their mind, and they will always use us for their work first of all, and
Okay.
they'll refer us to other people, and they're willing to sign up for these maintenance plans or sign up for additional work from us. So we have to make that first customer experience very, very delightful.
So considering you use the delightful word, um,
Yeah.
how do you go about doing that? Because I was kind of referencing the follow-up as being one of those critical pieces, and I want to go down a different path. But before I do, what makes an engagement delightful in your mind?
Okay. Couple things that I always coach on.
I clearly hit on something because you were really excited.
We we need to make sure we know their name. We call them by name. Okay.
Okay, so
We need to
recognition.
not use jargon when we're talking to them. Speak at their their language,
Speak to how
or their
someone wants to be spoken to, not the
yep,
way you want to speak
yep.
it perfectly.
Okay.
We're
We need to
using our
have a
teaching principles. I love it.
yep, a good follow-up afterwards, like you
Okay.
said, a touch point, whether that's 48 hours or 60 days, you pick the time frame on that.
Okay.
Um, and then personal touches such as sending a thank you card,
Okay.
touch with our signature, grateful for your business. Thank you for having me as your technician on this service. Or or whatever it is, it can be, you can do it with software too. You can
Mhm.
do it with whatever you're selling or whatever
Oh,
your product, if you're an attorney or if you're running a med spa or if you're whatever your business is, you can use all those same principles.
you just completely stepped directly into my trap, sir.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't hurt.
Nope.
Um, my the path or area I wanted to go dive into really quickly was I see a lot of people using automation for the follow-up. And I wanted to kind of touch base on that really quickly because coming from the software industry, being a software guy, loving AI and all that kind of jargon and junk, I'd be hypocritical if I said don't do it. But at the same token, I can tell everyone, please don't be robotic. Don't use out of the box responses for people. The personalization is so important. You just talked about it, using someone's first name, don't using technical jargon, making sure that you are, commenting on emotional connection points, et cetera, et cetera. You can't do that with an automated follow-up unless you're tailoring that message. I can't tell you, and good and well, Mike, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. I love LinkedIn and I hate it all at the same time. We post here all the time. It's a great platform for us to get our message out. But how many of these things do you get every morning? Connection request from so and so. Hey, Mike, I specifically work with coaches helping.
Yeah.
Is that not the biggest turnoff you've ever seen in your entire life? I only work with high value, high functioning it's like, please stop. And the reason why I'm harping on this is that's the way people perceive some of these automated, non-personal responses, especially if they've been a customer or a client for a period of time and they've gone through a few of these cycles.
You
They
get
know it's
fatigued
not,
from it, right?
yeah, they know it's not genuine. And so I think that was the one point that I really wanted to exacerbate and add to your 4 points of how to be delightful. And that was really simple. Be genuine, right? You constantly hear me talk about specificity and how that's important, and everyone wants custom these days. Being genuine and being true to who you are and what your word is and what you stand for and the interactions that you've had with those individuals and how you fostered that relationship, that means so much. It means so
Yeah.
much. So please don't overlook that for the sake of convenience using tools. I'm the first person to set my follow-up schedules in my CRM. I'm the first person to have automated responses in my phone when I'm coaching and someone calls. I can immediately set a text message to respond, right? Like I'm the first person to utilize the technology, but I constantly am revisiting it. And I'm revisiting it so I can change the messaging, so I can make sure that I have tiers or classifications or categories for these things so that people aren't getting the same type of repetition because it's disingenuous. And that's a great way to alienate and drive people away. So if this focuses on how to get additional sales from that existing client, don't make the stupid move because you're lazy or it's convenient. And I'm not saying people are lazy. I'm probably going to regret saying that at some point, but you know what I mean.
Maybe busy is a better word. Busy and it's
Yeah,
convenient.
busy's great. Let's go with busy. Let's rewind 30 seconds and scrap my last comment.
No, I
What are you
agree with
thinking?
you. I agree with you completely. I think in the world we live in today, there's so much automation and it's coming at us all day, every day. That we just start pushing it away.
I mean, automation's great,
And
but you've got to
we
be
need to
real.
stand out, right? We got to stand out. And there's so many people vying for our customers' attention. And
Yep.
I mean, if we're an insurance salesman, if we forget to contact our clients for a year, and then renewals come up, it may go somewhere else.
It's
It
funny.
might be the person that's in front of them today that's talking to them, not you.
Here's a personal experience that popped up here recently. So I'm due for my insurance renewals, all the home stuff, right? Home, auto, umbrella, business, all the things, right? And um, I'm in BNI, and I've got this great gentleman who's in my BNI who's helped me in the past, but I've been working with this other firm for a while, and rates keep going up and up and up, right? Every year, and it's like all I want. I can even accept the fact that rates are going up, Mike. I want someone to reach out and tell me, hey, don't be so surprised. I know this has gone up 2 years
Yeah.
in a row. This has happened because of XYZ. And I don't want it to come from a generalized mailer. I want
Yep.
you to have gone through, reviewed my account, and be like, man, this dude's car insurance went up like $500 in the last 3 years, and he drives two beaters, right? Like he's probably curious. That is what I'm talking about, be genuine, make the
Yep.
effort. And actually, these people did that, so it's not like I'm
Yeah.
blasting, right? But it's like
Yeah.
that meant so much to me. It was like cool, right? And so I stuck and I stayed where I was, and I'm happy, but it was because of the service. It was because of people being proactive about the things that I would have been thinking, that I would have been feeling, that I was upset about, right? And being proactive in that response, that earned or re-earned my trust.
The other, I mean, it's a simple thing. And the other thing is like another easy touch point that you can have throughout the year in whatever industry you're in is if you collect enough information, you can have their birth dates and send a quick birthday text or
Mm.
send a birthday card or whatever the week of their birthday. I know that sounds funny, but if you're an insurance salesman, you easily have that information. It's something and it's a point
Yep,
of touch that you can make with your customer, and that they're gonna renew with you if they remember that you care and that you're paying attention to them, and
you're
that
right.
they're not just an annuity for you collecting a paycheck every year.
One of those first questions that I ask when I'm talking to either prospects, prospective clients, or, just new individuals that have entered entrepreneurship or, are just out of a particular school and are starting a field, I always ask the same thing. What makes you different? Right? And everyone wants to be different these days because we think that the only way that you can stand out is to be different. And I don't know if that's necessarily true. Different does help, especially if you have a value proposition that is different. But back to basics is kind of one of those things that I've been preaching as of late. Everyone wants to be different, and I get it. That's great. I preach that constantly, so I'm not going to then be contradictory and say not to. But be really good at the basic fundamentals of running, operating, and communicating the business purpose, the outcomes, and the value. And I think a lot of people out there don't do two things very well. The first, they don't ask for the business. Number two, they don't do a good job of communicating their value. They think that considering someone has already worked with them in the past, and I'm not going to say that they're resting on their laurels, but they don't put in that same energy or effort that they would have if they were going after a new client, right? And so that wow factor. I was actually chuckling about this with my wife a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Oh, so is this kind of like how, you dating is not the same when you've been
Yeah.
married for, a decade plus, right?" And she's right. When I first started dating my beautiful wife, I would go to the door, bring her flowers, I would open the car door, and over time, those things have kind of not dissipated completely, but they've waned. And that was kind of a really good kick in the butt to not just make me do those things again because I should, but B, it was a really good reminder of the things that these are some basic principles. Keep people wanted, keep people interested, keep people engaged. It works in my case, marriage. It can work in all of our cases for business. And so don't lose sight of those basic fundamentals to help keep people around and keep people happy. Business doesn't have to be super hard, right? It can be pretty simple. as long as we are cognizant of why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah, so I guess my message today is stop and mindstorm and think about this if you have people that sales reps or whatever.
Mhm.
Talk about how you might increase the frequency of purchases by your existing customers and think
Yep.
about ways that you can make touches and even those maintenance plans. Man, a lot of industries are going to this, but not all industries. And I think everyone should, those subscription maintenance type plans. That's an easy increase in the frequency of our sales to our clients.
It's a
And,
residual sale. Like, I
and
mean,
you already have them.
yeah.
Um, so just stop and think about that and spend 5 minutes just to talk, not 5 minutes, probably a half hour to an hour, and talk about how to increase the frequency of your
I
sales to your
think you
existing
said that extremely
customers.
well, but I want to double down on that as kind of our ending here. I don't want this to be a passing conversation, right? If this has any remote interest to you, this is not a 5 minute conversation with your
No,
GM or your project manager or anyone else. This is something that I want you to devote some time to think about. I want you to brainstorm on what you're doing currently. I want you to, sit down and write down a list of this is how I'm getting clients today. These are the services I'm offering. What can I do tomorrow to leverage that with the same existing base? Um, you need to devote time and energy to laying out a plan and then building an execution mechanism in order to track said plan so that you can get the outcomes, you can track what's working, what's not, and make those deviations, right? It's all about preparation, but this is not something that should be glossed over. Yeah, we should try to go sell more to these people. No, sit down, devote that time, take the energy because you will thank us for it.
agreed.
Awesome.
Thanks, Adam.
Anything else that you would like to go chat about today, my friend?
No, I think we covered it well.
Well, on that note, I hope you stay cool. I will try to stay dry. And for all of us out there listening, watching, thank you once again for checking in, and we'll talk to you again next week.